So, like, you got to spare me, Joel Klatt, on this idea that the NCAA tournament for men is a joke. It is not a joke. It's the best thing that we do in this country. And it's why I take such offense to it, because the NCAA tournament, for me, I've long said it's better as an event than the Super Bowl. All right. We're talking about small farm country towns around the country emptying out to watch their programs go up against the city slickers of the world, right? Your blue bloods of the world. You got schools we never heard of getting into the tournament and having their moment in the sun. You know, the Albanys, the Stony Brooks, like these teams that just don't ever get real shots. They get one shot a decade or 2 decades to get their name in lights. And they go and play. And I have covered it. I watched UMass in the NCAA tournament. I watched Creighton in the NCAA tournament. Kids that will never play on stages that big ever again, getting opportunities to do exactly what they have dreamt of doing their entire lives. We don't give college football kids the same opportunity. Not even close. You play football at an FCS school, you're never going to get a chance to play in Ohio State. And who's to say, I mean, there's a lot of teams in South Dakota, North Dakota, that would say, wait a minute, put up, we'll test ourselves against the big boys. Let's see what happens. Maybe we get one. Maybe we don't. But on any given Saturday, maybe we could have a miracle and we win. That's what they're all afraid of. That's what the Joel Klatts of the world, what they're so afraid of. They're afraid of that one given Saturday, that one fluke thing to happen freaks them out, because then their TV ratings are impacted. And their money is impacted, and the audience size is impacted. Things that no fan cares about. Like, you want to talk about how disconnected you could be from a football fan and a college basketball fan perspective? That's about as disconnected as you could ever be from actual people who watch sports. Because any sports fan would tell you they love the NCAA tournament. They love college football too, and they love the college football tournament. They love the CFP, but they understand that the first love, because they went with it first and they were capable and confident and okay with determining a champion on the field, was college basketball. Remember, up until 3 years ago, we actually have like a quasi tournament now with 12 teams in. But up till then, before then, we were determining a football playoff champion unlike anybody else in the world playing sports. It was the only sport in the world that was allowing computer programs and people in boardrooms to say yes or no to who is in and who is out to a 4-team or a 2-team championship setting. No, thank you. I want no part of any of this. I want no part of that comment, no part of any of it. Give me the NCAA tournament. Give me more sports. Let's all determine it on the field, not in people's boardrooms or a Holiday Inn in Indianapolis. Let's find out where our guy is. It's a BetCris Arizona Thursday. Where is Adam Bjorn? Adam, welcome back to BBB. Where are you?
I am in Jerrystown. So there's Dallas behind me. I don't know what Dallas is famous for, city-wise.
Big things.
Besides the Cowboys, but let me just bring this down for the get a little clearer. The phone's going everywhere. So I'm in Dallas today.
Is there a reason, or are you just hanging out?
Kind of just hanging out. So Sunday night I was in Costa Rica. Monday morning I was in New York. Tuesday morning I was in Memphis. What day is it today? Wednesday afternoon I was in Dallas, and then tomorrow I'm flying down to Jamaica to start clearing items and starting distributing stuff over the Christmas period. But yeah, I'm feeling it. I mean, it was cold in New York and cold in Memphis, where I have a commercial property there, so I ended up there for a couple of days. But yeah, there's shit going on everywhere right now.
Do you fly the same airline every time you fly? You fly different airlines. I'm really curious about people who fly this much. Are you loyal to one airline, or do you fly multiple airlines?
Multiple airlines. Generally, a lot of them don't go everywhere, and I'm a direct flyer. Like, get me the least amount of stops, short notice, get in there. Dallas, obviously a hub for American. Houston, I go through a lot. It was the hub for United. Detroit, I'm starting to visit a lot now in Michigan, so that's Delta. I'm really just looking for a good price and get me there as quickly as possible.
All right. How is your sleep schedule? Like, do you know what time it is? You didn't know what day it was. Did you know what time it is?
At times, generally, I'm good with. And when I get into a good routine, especially when I'm got the kids in Costa Rica, getting them up for school, wake up without alarms at like 6:15, deal with all that stuff. So generally I wake up similar times every day. This morning I was in no rush to wake up. I didn't have any meeting till 9 a.m. So I was making the most of it. Days are getting chaotic.
Yeah.
And especially now when there's bowls every day. So I don't, I can usually know Thursday. And then we're going to have NFL Saturday. So I'm going to see NFL. I'm going to have people pinging me for lines on Saturday. I just need to know, and I missed the ball last night. I got it the night before. I was hanging out with a customer in Memphis at a sports bar, watched the Jacksonville State game, watched some NBA, watched Louisville, Tennessee. I watched more sport. Was it Wednesday night? Tuesday night?
Tuesday night, probably.
Yeah. Had a great time there. But yeah, now the next few weeks is really like there's sport every day. There's good games every day. Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. This is where it's just nonstop. So it's really helpful. Let it go as hard as you can, and then wake up in the next year and see where we're at.
Do you like it like this from a book perspective when it's this much, or is it just too much? You got to put lines up for everything and it becomes overload.
So that's interesting because it was just a few weeks ago when I was in Miami doing the, buying and shipping and stuff like that. And at the end of it, I was like, I played a lot of sports when I was younger, and especially Aussie rules. And I loved coming off the field just absolutely wasted, where you'd crawl into the shower, crawl into the car, and then just watch the games later. I love the level of exhaustion that it can bring at times, because you feel like you've actually achieved something and you've done something and you've, gone through that grind. But there is times where, college basketball Saturdays, I'm glad I don't trade that stuff anymore. College football Saturdays, I'm glad I don't trade that. NFL stack, even when they've got the London, Germany, Spain games, it's a nice full day, solid day. But I do like occasionally when it's just compacted, like, see what the games are, 4:30, get the, look at the charts and then sort of see how they go and not go deep into the late night stuff. I think the world rule is as you get older, you seem to get up earlier, go to bed earlier. Yeah. I'm falling into that range these days. And that's where the time zones, the central time zone's pretty good. That mountain time zone, I think, is really good as well. And as I think we've spoken before, the Pacific time is almost perfect except for Sundays and Saturday mornings and that at times. But yeah, it's for the next few weeks, and actually probably the next 6 weeks, my time zones, my locations are really going to be generally screwed.
It's going to be fun to see where you wind up being every Thursday. But when you look at the next 5 days, we have tonight, we'll get to it in 1 second, Thursday Night Football. We have a playoff game standalone on Friday night, huge teams, huge brand names. We have college football playoff games and 2 NFL games, including Bears-Packers on Saturday. We have a full NFL slate on Sunday, and then a Monday night with San Francisco and Phillip Rivers on Monday. You guys have to be expecting a pretty big handle next 5 days. Now, this should be heavy action at the book, right?
This, again, standalone games, especially for live. The volume that comes in is just, phenomenal, especially when you get a game swinging back and forth. The variation of opinions, both pros, Joes, everybody else that gets involved, people looking to cash out or hedge and then get back into, the game and spots like that. But standalone games, and I was even looking at the NBA recently, and might have been on Prime Suspects. They were asking how the volume was, and it just happened that Sunday night before, when I went to check the football, I went into the NBA, and the NBA game for that Sunday night was like 10x every other game sort of on the board. So I think it's across all sports. When you get the standalone games and the bowls, these bowls are just rolled out perfectly, and people are betting on teams and colleges and that they probably couldn't even pin on the mat. But because that's the one game on, that's what the action's on. They're just tuning in and playing it, so they've got something to do, something to watch.
That's tonight, Missouri State in the Xbox Bowl tonight. It's very similar. I don't think anybody could tell you where Missouri State's located, but people are betting Missouri State tonight in the bowl game.
Yeah, and that one I was actually just looking at it for prior, like really good volume. Again, Missouri State, Arkansas State, couldn't imagine getting this kind of volume. It's almost on par with the NFL game so far today with how much money's on this side versus the NFL right now. Because, again, at NFL, I think it's, a big game for both. So a lot of people sort of humming and hawing. It is, there is good volume on it. But when I clicked over to look at the college, it was like, wow, Arkansas State just has just as much money on them as the Rams.
Wow. Well, okay, let's start with that game then. Are the pros on Missouri State? Because I laid the one last night.
No, so it's generally about 64% of the money's on Arkansas State overall, and then 72% of the master money's on Arkansas State.
All right. So I'm on the book side tonight. I'll take it. You mentioned the Rams and the Seahawks. Where are you seeing the action in this game? Are you at 1.5 or 2 for Seattle tonight?
So we're at 1.5. 64% of the money's on the Rams. 81% of the master money is on the Seahawks.
Wow.
This is, probably end up like one of the, if it continues on this, like a data play there. Joe's are one side, pros the other. But the master money was bought at plus 1.5, laying a quarter. And on the Rams side, they've sort of bet +3, laying almost 60 cents and +2. So no one's really playing the number for what it is. There is some teasers as well going up to the 7.5 on the Rams.
Okay.
But yeah, this is starting to show up where pros are one side, Joe's are the other.
What about the total? The weather here is supposed to be pretty windy, 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, 20-mile-per-hour sustained wind. Not that rainy, but the wind may be a big factor here tonight. You heavy on the under?
So overall, it's well balanced, but the pros are on the under. They went under 44.5, under 44, under 43.5, and it's sitting at a solid 43 right now.
Okay. Yeah, I bet the under 2 last night. You could do a same game teaser, guys. If you're looking at this game, we'll talk about it a bit later, but just listen to where the numbers. You could take it from 1.5 to 7.5 and take the Rams. That's a popular play, and you can take the total up from 43.5 to 49.5 and take under. So I think you'll see a lot of teaser action coming in on that same game teaser situation. All right, the Saturday Bears Packers. This is a wild football game because of what happened last week with the Micah Parsons injury to the Packers. This has been bet steadily to the Rams. To the Bears, rather. I was surprised the Packers opened up as a favorite. We're at a pick. What are you guys seeing here? Are they taking the points? Or let me ask you this. Did you open with the Packers as the favorite?
Yes, it opened at 2.5. Some people bought it up to the 3. Solid money at the +2, +1.5. And yeah, now Bears a -1, -0.5 kind of thing. But yeah, 90% of the overall money is on Chicago. 94% of the master money is on Green Bay, but it's come once it's sort of settled at the number it is now. There was nothing really early on that.
Do you have a pick on this game? Who wins this to you?
So this is a bit like that game last week when Green Bay opened favorite, Denver. It ended up moving a bit, and that. I mean, geez, it's still the Bears. I mean, but all the money's on the Bears from the average one. But again, a lot of that come before when that injury news come in. People bet that side. This one is a pick'em game. I mean, Bears just keep showing up. They keep sort of proving. Their quarterback seems to be sort of finding his own and really growing into himself. And it did happen to. I don't know what show I was watching. One of the ESPN ones I had on TV while I was going to sleep. Comparing. I think it was a Joe Montana throw into the end zone.
Caleb Williams?
Yeah. I mean, They were just deep into some of this stuff. And I think Steve Young was on the show and whatnot. But, Bears are doing a great job. I mean, Bears fans are getting a run at it, just like Detroit have in the last few years. And, good luck to them because they've gone through a lot of hard times.
Amen to that. The other game isn't very sexy because you have a backup quarterback starting for the Commanders, and the Eagles destroyed the Raiders 31-0 last week. But the stop sign seems to be 6.5 for the Eagles. Opened up at 4.5, and we're now at 6.5 at most books. Are you guys seeing anybody taking Washington?
No. We look like we're at a solid 7 there. 92% of the money's on the Eagles. There's no, well, as I was about to write, and I wrote notes, there's no action on the master chart. It looks like someone just had a solid 5-figure bet at that -6.5, which is why it's gone to 7 right now.
Okay.
So it looks like, definitely going to need the Commanders, which doesn't feel real good side to be on. But that money's starting to come in and heading the Philly way.
To Sunday we go, and my Patriots lost a 21-0 lead at home to the Buffalo Bills. You and I both were probably thinking, we're right. How are the Patriots dogs? And then the Rams won, the Bills won, and the Bills covered in that game. Now the Patriots are road dogs to the Ravens. Anyone taking the Ravens? It feels like it's all Pat's money coming in on New England to bounce back.
No, so we're at 53% on the Ravens, 94% of the master money's on the Ravens, but it's all at 2.5. It's generally not. There's no master action at the 3. There's a little bit back on New England at the +3. But yeah, I mean, we were right for what, 1.25. I mean, that was our biggest game of the week. I was watching the football, and then I had to go to a meeting. They were up 21-0. Then I'm sitting at, having lunch, and it's like, oh, hang on a second, what's going on here? And you just knew that they were, the back and forth, they were going to come over the top. But yeah, that was a horrible result, that one.
Yeah, I had to get out of it in game. I was like, my gosh, when the Patriots scored and went up on that long run, I was like, yeah, that defense is toast. I got to take the Bills on the money line to cover my bet. So I had to bet against my team in that moment, and that was a tough loss. Good win for Buffalo, but tough loss for the Patriots. And now they got to go to the Ravens, who are ticked off. But Patriots win, everything's forgotten. But they're 6-0 on the road. So let's see if they keep on winning on the road or not. Jaguars and the Broncos. This is wild. A team that's won 5 games in a row, Jacksonville, versus a team in Buffalo, in Denver, that has won 11 games in a row. Small favorite for a Florida team going to the mountain part of the country. You surprised this number is only 3? Figure it would be higher than this.
Yeah, but it seems like anytime it ticks to 3.5, the money comes in. 64% of the money's on the Broncos, 68% of the master money. Generally, again, it's at -3 one side, +3.5 the other side. So it seems like 3's the number, and it should hold up if the money keeps coming in like it is. Every time that half a tick gets put on, it comes back. But yeah, this is one where I thought Denver would be closer to 5.5 at least.
Yeah, I like the Broncos in that spot, only laying 3. These next 2 games are more questions and I think intrigue, because I don't know how many people are going to bet the Steelers and the Lions, but obviously the Ravens game factors into this one. But Detroit's been unbelievable off of losses. Are they going to have any problem with Pittsburgh? Are people betting Detroit?
Well, the people betting don't think so, because it's literally 98% of the money on Detroit, 100% of the master money, generally 6.5 and 7. Pittsburgh really showing up friendless so far on this game, and it looks the number's sort of 6.5, laying a little bit of a short number. 7 seems like where it'll end up. But this, I mean, generally when I say this is all one-way action, there is some money on the other side, but this is all one-way action.
Look, they've won 15 straight in this spot, so I understand it. They're 14-1 ATS. The Lions are coming off of a loss. So this is when Goff and company at home, and the Steelers, after a big win in primetime, short week, I get it. I get why people are hammering it. And then the Bucks and the Panthers. I have a big bet on the Bucks to win the NFC South. They play 2 times in 3 weeks. Home dog Panthers. The pros have got to be on Carolina. No.
So the master chart is penniless right now. On the overall money, it's 54% on Tampa Bay, but generally it's at -2.5. And then on the flip side, Carolina at a bit of +3 and a little bit of 2.5. But Tampa Bay is friendless at the 3. So it seems like 2.5 is what the number they want. They don't want to lay that, full field goal if they're going to take the Tampa Bay side. So that one looks like it'll not go to 3.5. If anything, it'll go down to 2.5. But it looks sort of solid 3.20 where it's hanging on to right now.
Interesting. All right, to the playoffs we go. And Friday, Alabama and Oklahoma. The Crimson Tide have never, and I'm going to say never because of the fact that the last time they lost to the same team twice in the same season was in the 1890s. So Bama has never lost to the same team twice in this situation. I can't see this. Alabama losing this game. I like Oklahoma plus 1.5, but I feel like I have to bet Alabama in this spot. Where's the money coming down?
Yeah, so overall, I mean, this is a pretty close match. Overall, 55% of the money's on Alabama, 61% of the master money, but it's all back and forth at the one. -1, +1. It's getting good two-way action here. So this one feels like it is genuinely coming down to the end of the game, and maybe it's whoever has the ball last is the winner at the end.
Yeah, this is an in-game to me. This feels like you can take a pre-game position if you want, but you got to be willing to bet in-game because I think you're going to see swings here. One team goes up by 7, another team goes up by 7, going back and forth. I think you're going to have a chance to take plus on both sides of this game coming up on Friday night. Standalone, if you got nothing to do, this is the game to watch. And then the first game, which is a 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'm not sure where you're going to be on Saturday, but in case you're on the West Coast, Saturday it's 9 a.m. Miami and Texas A&M standalone. A&M laying 3.5. I got buddies of mine that say that A&M is a lock to annihilate Miami. I don't know if I agree with it, but where are you from a money perspective on the Aggies and the Hurricanes?
Yeah, so overall 71% is on Miami, but 88% of the master money is on the A&M at the -3.5. Miami's a bit at the +4, +4.5. But this is showing up a bit as a pros versus Joes as well, where the pros are on the A&M and everyone else is on Miami, Florida. So maybe the insiders are giving the hot information out that this is the side and the direction that they're going to go on. It does seem like there's a chance that it could go down to 3. Okay. I don't see it going back to 4, but there's a bunch of people that are sort of buying up to 4, 4.5.
4.5. Wow. Okay. And then the other two games are blowout games potential, but anybody taking Tulane money line? You seeing anything on the green wave with the Ole Miss mess, with everything with Lane Kiffin leaving and everything else? Anybody buying that potentially Tulane could shock the world?
Nope. On the money line, it's like literally 99.9% Mississippi. Even the master money is 100% Mississippi. Overall, and this started at sort of the run of money at 15 up to 17.5. A little bit of a tickle back on Tulane at the 17, but 92% of the money's on Ole Miss. 98% of the master money is on Ole Miss, and yeah, definitely going to need Tulane in this game.
I think you might get it. I like Tulane. I don't like James Madison against Oregon, though, in the last game of the college football playoff opening round. This number feels right. I think the Ducks win, the Ducks cover, but I feel like JMU is going to get a lot of love here taking the points. Fair?
Fair. And I've mentioned this 2 weeks in a row on Prime Suspects. This is by far, not even close, the biggest bet college game on the schedule so far. Has been since the lines opened. It's just increasing all week. And I was glad when I saw you post this one because I was going to have to bring it up anyway. 61% of the money's on Oregon. 87% of the master money's on James Madison. They took the 23, the 22, the 21.5, 21. Little bit nibble coming back 20.5 and 21 on Oregon. But the volume on this game, and again, I had Joe telling me where James Madison was because I could not tell you where this college was. Yeah, but ton of money on this game right from the outset.
Wow. How about that? Look, I get it, I guess. I mean, JMU's looked decent at times and has played well. They earned their way into this spot. Oregon at times has been a little bit up and down, but my gosh, Oregon at home in a playoff game? Like, they do know that JMU is an East Coast team going out to the West, right, to play Oregon at Austin Stadium. Like, I don't know, guys. This could get ugly in a hurry. I mean, most of these games last year were all blowouts. So, like, if history shows us anything, it's that these games aren't close. These are blowouts. Oh, okay.
Well, the money is coming in hard and fast from the minute this game opened up. James Madison.
Did we miss anything? Anything on your board that has a ton of action that maybe is surprising?
The only other one was in the NFL, where the Raiders, ton of money against Houston, 61% overall, 94% of the master money. The 14.5 is getting eaten alive. The 14's getting taken. I think after the last week's games, those two touchdown dogs, saw plenty of money on those spots, and Philip Rivers showed up. Old man Rivers.
He did. He played well. He got a chance on primetime Monday night to do it as well. Addison has a question I want to put up on the screen to see if you can answer it before we let you go, because I think there could be some people. He's a big F1 fan, but he's curious about major changes from a book perspective. How do you handle when you go from a sport that had a rule that was one way, and then the next rule, and I'm not sure which rule he's referring to with F1, but clearly there's a big rule change coming to F1 next year. As a book, how do you handle that?
Really pay attention to the practice sessions at the beginning of the year. This was one that showed up, again, 10, 15 years ago. I'm dating myself, when Braun showed up one morning in Spain testing, and we were all over the 25s Constructor Championship, 80-1 Jenson Button to win the title. Because these cars are so different, and that's where during the season, going track to track, who's good on low force tracks, who's good on the corners, long straights, all these kind of things. That's kind of the edge that you sort of have in F1, is cars really, it's horses for courses. Certain cars perform really well on certain tracks and things like that. Less passing, more passing, those kind of aspects. So, these cars also change so much because a lot of these rules have been sort of identified, or at least had conversations previously. So already, they've already built 2026 cars. Some of them sort of try and release towards the end of seasons when they're not going well to test and all those kind of things. But it's kind of what makes it fun, is because it's bettors versus bookies, who interprets those things better, who gets that information early on the data of, who's doing well in their wind tunnels and all these kind of things. But for F1, I just hope they choose rules that make it more interesting, more competitive. I understand not going back to the refueling during races and stuff, but there's so many more ways that they could do it to make it a hell of a lot more interesting to watch these races and whatnot, and just not have it a bit of a procession around the track.
It's fair. I totally agree with that. Vegas people would agree too, because it's not competitive in terms of the races. Oftentimes it's one or two drivers and they're out and that's it. They're gone. And there's no real passing, and there's nothing that really people want to see racing. They don't want to see guys just driving. So oftentimes you're watching that, at least for the Vegas race here. All right. Are you still alive with Circa with your millions entry, or are we DOA?
I've just had two. I haven't looked. I had 2 bad weeks. I had 2 2 and 3s. The minute I started concentrating on it, it was like,
yep, always right.
I had Miami on most of the ones, Monday, whatnot. But yeah, it was. I don't want to look at it. I just need 3 good weeks, couple of 4 and 1s, 5 and 0s, so it becomes an event. And then the week, but after the 17th week, I'll have a look and see where I stand if I have a couple of good weeks. But yeah, it's not been good.
We got to go. It's tough. December is really hard. I mean, the numbers are tight. This. Numbers are hard, and this is a tough time to bet the NFL. And even 5 games with static lines can be very difficult to pick. So, Adam, thank you for doing this. Enjoy Dallas. Hopefully the weather's going to be nice. Travel safe wherever you're going to be headed. We'll talk to you next week. All right?
All right. Cheers. Thanks, Matt.
Adam Bjorn on a BetCris Arizona Thursday, joining us here on the Bostonian versus the Book. Great to get him on the program, talking everything about football. And yes, Addison, that is a gift to you. I don't know how long of a rant that was, but that was probably the longest F1 rant we've ever had here on the program. I didn't understand half the things he said. I heard competitiveness and make it more fun to watch. Yes, I would agree. Other than that, I have no idea what he was talking about in terms of history and everything else. I have no idea what he was talking about. I did have to chuckle a bit because he was, in case you were curious, Adam was saying bowls, like college football bowls, but the Australian accent makes it sound like balls. And so when he said roll out the balls, just roll out the balls individually, I was like, where's he going? Like, I know he gets the show, but where's he going with this? So and then I had to realize, it was like, oh, he's saying bowls, not balls. So that was great. That was pretty funny. I caught kind of I caught a chuckle with that. That was pretty funny. I was like, what are we doing? So, yeah. So there was all of that going on. So good stuff with that. Oh, I should have a package arriving today. Addison. Don't tell people I told you where I live. because then they'll ask you to find out where my address is. That's not, we don't want to have that happen. Let's talk about some games coming up this weekend, because there are some just massive games. We were not going to do what happened last night because nothing really happened last night, but I do want to get into Evan Abrams of the Action Network for his Week 16 primer to help you guys come at this with from an NFL betting perspective for Week 16. So how about this? The public continues to get smoked. Through 15 weeks, if a team is receiving 60% of the tickets, and it goes book by book, and I know it's debatable as to when that information's out there, but generally speaking, if you find a consensus where a game is receiving 60 or more tickets, 60% or more of the tickets, that team is covering at a 38% clip. 38% clip. That is the worst in the Bet Labs history, which is 23 years of data to go back when it comes to the public. So be very careful when it comes to betting with the masses and what everybody thinks is going to happen. Be careful, right? Everybody thought Miami was going to cover, right? We saw, and I was on Pittsburgh. I took people running around proclaiming the end of the curse and the streak. Tua throws a pick. He was awful. The team was awful. And now Tua is benched. The team has been eliminated from the playoffs. Pittsburgh wins. Pittsburgh looks really good. Clear indication. I'm not saying every game should be bet like this, but as you handicap, this should be in the back of your mind, okay? When it comes to picking games in deep December, be very, very careful, okay? Be very, very careful when it comes to betting with the public. This is one of those times, although you heard from Adam, the public and the pros are both all over the Lions. Jared Goff and Dan Campbell are 19-12-1 straight up and 23-9 off a loss as a duo, but they've won 15 in a row dating back to November 1st of 2022, going 14-1 ATS after a loss. Now that one loss was this year, so they did lose after a loss this season, but there is some really powerful data that can back you up if you do want to wind up taking the Lions here, because just look, on the road, Pittsburgh against Detroit, when they absolutely have to have it after losing 41-34 last week to the Rams, they're back at home in a must-win situation with the Packers and the Bears playing on Saturday. This is shaping up to be a very bad day for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It would be, I would bet it now. If you see a 6.5 in the market, I would bet it now. For tonight, Sean McVay, 28-11 straight up, 27-11-1 against the spread in the month of December, winning 9 in a row outright. Since the start of the 2021 season, Sean McVay is 17-3 ATS in December. Now, how does this factor into the game tonight? Well, look I'm on the Rams. We'll do just the picks here in a second, but I'm on the Rams. And the reason why I'm on the Rams is because I don't believe that Seattle is going to be able to maintain where they're at if their offense continues to be this pedestrian. And with the wind that's going to be in play here tonight, the thing that set the Seattle Seahawks on fire all year was Jackson Smith and Jigba in the deep ball that Sam Darnold was throwing. There will not be a deep ball option tonight. By all accounts, it's going to be disgusting to throw and kick tonight in Seattle. The wind is going to be whipping 40 mile per hour wind gusts, 20 mile per hour sustained wind gusts. We had somebody in the chat who, let me scroll backwards, it was in Seattle talking about the weather being the windiest it's been ever in Seattle. And the amount of rain that the entire state of Washington has taken over the last 3 weeks has flooded everything. And it's made it really difficult and really tough to navigate through the entire state. So in terms of weather, here we go. Wind and rain are both bad. Most of the state is underwater, doesn't have power. I'll be slamming the unders tonight. Yes, worst wind in Seattle in 10 years. Okay, to give you an idea. So that's why I do not like the Seahawks here, because what made this offense go was not their running attack. And their running attack is not bad, okay? But the Rams can stop the run. The Rams have a quarterback in Matthew Stafford who's capable of playing a bunch of different ways. And I like the running game for the Rams more than I do like the Seattle Seahawks running game. The Rams caused Sam Darnold to throw 4 interceptions in the first meeting. And while you can say, well, Matt, wait a minute, that final was 21-19. That was not a game, really. I mean, the Seattle Seahawks in the fourth quarter made it a game. But the first 3 quarters, that was all LA. They owned Seattle. And the Seahawks under Mike Macdonald have been much better on the road than they have been at home. Look at last week. They win a game with 6 field goals against the Colts and against Phillip Rivers, playing his first game in 5 years, and their defense looked okay. They have Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua coming in. So, like, I just can't jump into it. I really can't. I mean, I can't buy Seattle. I know a lot of people are on Seattle. I'm not on Seattle. I'm on the Rams. I like the Rams. So there is a breaking news account. What's wrong? What are we talking about, Jimmy Myers? What's the breaking news that we got to jump in on? You guys confuse me in the chat sometimes. I don't know what you're talking about. But if there is breaking news, we'll talk about it, but I don't know what we're doing. So I am, I'm not a believer in this Seahawks team in this game. I just think Sean McVay, there's certain matchups in this division that McVay against the Cardinals and McVay against the Seahawks, it's just straight for, okay, that is confirmed. Okay. Thank you for that. It is confirmed that Greg Biffle and his family died in a plane crash. That's horrible. But no strong news is reporting it yet. Okay. Thank you, Sonic. So that's why, no, we won't do breaking news until we know, but that's the rumor. Okay. So just rumor is that happened in North Carolina today. That a small plane went down involving, it was owned by the Biffle family. So you can say that. Were they on it? We don't know. Confirmation has not been done as of yet, but that plane that was owned by Greg Biffle did go down in North Carolina today. Teams off of a 14-plus comeback, Buffalo, in their last game, just 59-78 in their next game. However, the Bills are actually 5-0 straight up and 5-0 against the spread in that spot since 2019, since Josh Allen has come around. So this trend does not impact Josh Allen. Josh Allen goes and covers and wins. So if you're worried about Buffalo this week, you probably shouldn't be. Probably should be betting on Buffalo to win and to cover this coming week here for the Bills as they try to beat up on a bad Browns team on the road. Buffalo's won 3 games in a row. Buffalo scored 26, 39, and 35 points in the last 3 weeks. I would expect the Browns to be giving up 27 or so points to the Bills coming up here on Sunday. Teams coming off of a road game in Denver are just 6-17 ATS and 0-6 ATS this season. So if you're looking for a trend to take the Bears, there it is. There's your Bears trend if you're looking for such a thing. I like the Bears. We'll do it tomorrow, but I like the Bears on Saturday. I like the Bears. I may be a little bit on the smaller side here, but I like the Bears. Let's make some picks for tonight. All right, just the picks being brought to you by the Betting Pros prop bet cheat sheet. You guys can go and find some prop bets to bet on tonight's football game, Thursday night game between the Rams and the Seahawks by going to bettingpros.com. Click on the prop bet cheat sheet or go and download the Betting Pros app, Betting Pros on your app store for the prop bet cheat sheet. I told you, I'm taking the Rams, okay? Taking the Rams +2. Sean McVay, look, in December, 17-3. He owns the Seahawks. He has been so dominant against Seattle in his coaching career. And I think for a lot of people who are on Seattle, they think, well, they're going to split, right? Because, the Rams, they won the first game. So obviously the second game is going to be won by the Seahawks. Well, to counter that point, Sean McVay has won 9 games in a row in the month of December. And Sean McVay has been dominant against Mike Macdonald and dominant against the Seahawks. He's been dominant against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. As a head coach, Sean McVay is 25-10-1 ATS against the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Like, it's remarkable what he's been able to do and how he's just beaten up on this division. McVay has faced the Seahawks at night in prime time 4 times as the head coach of the Rams. He's 4-0 ATS in those games. Yes, Davante Adams is a monster loss. It's a huge loss. I just think people were overvaluing this a little bit. Like, Davante Adams is one player. He's one wide receiver. They have other options in the red zone. They still have Puka Nacua. Puka is, to me, more important to a victory. Davante Adams is more important to a red zone offense. But they've got Kyron Williams and they have other options, tight ends and whatnot to throw to in the red zone. Yes, it's awesome to have Davante Adams. They're a much better team when they have Davante Adams. I just don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out to be that a wide receiver is out, because I think Sean McVay can coach up other players and Sean McVay can have the offense built around Matthew Stafford and a running attack if they need to with the weather. I like the Rams, their ability to run more than the Seahawks' ability to run. I like the Rams defense a little bit more than I like the Seattle Seahawks defense at times. So to me, Rams +2, Rams money line for that matter. The under 42.5. Let me give you an up-to-date weather report here, if I can jump in on that to tell you exactly what we are seeing here weather-wise. I go and check out, and you guys can follow him. He's Kevin Roth on Twitter. Kevin Roth is a meteorologist. He works for Roto Grinders and a couple other outlets, but he does a really great job of finding games that have bad weather. So he just tweeted a second ago, to answer the question I've been getting a lot of, winds are coming mostly out of the southwest tonight for Thursday Night Football. That's not a full crosswind, nor is it parallel to the field. It's a diagonal wind that's coming today. The wind chart is not good. The highest winds will be pregame with gusts of near 50 miles per hour. At kickoff, winds could still be gusting near 40 miles per hour. By the second half, winds will be sustained around 15 miles per hour, which is gusts around 30. The rain in some areas around the stadium could be heavy at times, but drizzle, light rain possible. He does not think rain will be that big of an issue for this game. It looks like more of a dry game than a wet game, but the winds down on the field, we'll see. Lumen Field has a half roof to protect fans from the rain, but it's open over the field. That may help protect the field from the worst of the wind, but I'm not sure how that will impact things. He thought his thoughts for fantasy were, the only thing I would even consider fading here is kickers, mostly because of the first half wins. Second half games, it should be mostly fine. I think overall, when it comes to stadiums and wind, you don't know what's going to happen. I'm betting the under. I'm playing under 42. The pros have played the under. I was going under anyway, frankly. I was going to play the under anyway. I wasn't going to go and bet the over in the game, regardless of the weather. The weather just cemented it. Once we had the weather, it was like, bang, like 100%. I'm going with the under tonight, under 42.5 for this. Ooh, I like that. Longest field goal under 50.5. I like that. Yep, I do. With the wind coming into play, I like that bet. That's a good play on that. And before we sign off from Sports Grid, unfortunately, and I do trust Sonic on this, he's saying that the rep from North Carolina is confirming that Greg Biffle and his family were aboard the plane that crashed in North Carolina. Obviously, our thoughts goes out to everybody involved in the NASCAR community. That's a awful, awful story and a horrible accident and a really sad story for the entire racing community, the NASCAR community, which is really tight knit in North Carolina. Headquarters in Charlotte, obviously, but many race teams are based in Charlotte. Thus, many drivers and their families choose to live in Charlotte, in that area around North Carolina. So that's a really sad story for that. So our thoughts obviously go out to anybody impacted by that awful plane crash that happened in North Carolina earlier today. If you guys are watching the replay on Sports Grid, thank you for being here. Fight Song Friday tomorrow for college football. We'll get to, and we did it last week. We'll do it again. I made picks on every game for the NFL the whole week. We're going to do it again. Picks and thoughts on every game next week, or in week 16 coming up tomorrow on the program. If you guys are live, don't move. More with bonus time. Okay. Couple of things we can do. Yeah, we'll do the story. Why not? Well, I was potentially going to hold it till tomorrow, but it's been a pretty interesting day in the industry. It's been a pretty volatile day in the industry. All right, news of the industry, and this is involving a lot louder of a conversation than even I thought we would have about prediction markets, because it feels like Kalshi finally stepped on the tail of the wrong animal. Because for all of the bullshit markets that they have put up over the years, they finally pissed off the wrong person by putting up a market for kids entering the transfer portal. Charlie Baker, in a statement to ESPN, the president of the NCAA, said, quote, "The NCAA vehemently opposes college sport prediction markets. It is already bad enough that student athletes face harassment and abuse for lost bets on game performance, and now Kalshi wants to offer bets on their transfer decisions and status. This is absolutely unacceptable and would place even greater pressure on student athletes while threatening competition integrity and recruiting processes. Their decisions in future should not be gambled with, especially in an unregulated marketplace that does not follow any rules of legitimate sports betting operators." That last line is a damn mic drop. I mean, that last line from Charlie Baker, that got Kalshi's attention. Kalshi went, whoa, 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 what? And I like it. I like it a lot that Kalshi now is having to defend itself publicly. And they are. Okay. Kalshi is defending themselves publicly and pushing back on Charlie Baker by essentially saying that they offer markets all the time on things that they don't actually put up for bet. So what Kalshi has responded by saying, quote, "We certify markets all the time that we do not end up listing," meaning you can bet on it. "We have no immediate plans to list these contracts." Yeah, you did, but fine, sure. Why the hell did you publicize it if you weren't going to make it public? You self-certified this and made sure everybody knew about it. "Like all markets on Kalshi, users with material non-public information would be prohibited from trading on potential transfer portal markets." Hold that thought for 1 second. "We have in-house and third-party surveillance systems that monitor for suspicious activity, and if necessary, we refer cases to the CFTC for enforcement." Well, my God, can somebody find out how many times Kalshi has referred a case to the CFTC and how many times that case was then investigated by the CFTC? Can you please tell me? I would love to know. I would love to know the answer to that question. But let's go back to one point before that, where, like all markets on Kalshi, users with material non-public information would be prohibited from trading on potential transfer portal markets. Look, I'm not that smart. I'm not. Okay. And I'm not that in tune with every law and every language, every passage of the Commodities Exchange Act. But there are two big things that I've been told about the Commodities Exchange Act. The first is you need to offer a betting market in all 50 states. You cannot geo-target. You must offer the same market in all 50 states. If you're a prediction market, you cannot discriminate based on geography. That's one. And number two, insider trading isn't illegal in prediction markets. You're allowed to do this. There is no insider trading SEC compliant type of situation when it comes to a prediction market. In fact, they welcome it. They welcome that. It's what I've been told, that it actually helps to make the market, when somebody on the inside actually knows what's going on and can help to, make it more sharp, make the market better, more efficient, they call it. So I don't know. What do you mean? That's illegal. You can't have insider trading. Yeah. I mean, so what you're saying is the guy who made $1 million in a single day, who by all accounts worked for Google, who then went to a prediction marketplace and made $1 million on Polymarket by going ahead and betting on certain things to happen at Google because he knew what was going to happen at Google when it came to the the charts as to who was going to be ranked where in 2025. So you're saying that guy should be arrested? Like that guy should be in jail for doing that? We're getting into a really interesting world here where these guys don't know their own laws and just talk about it publicly because they're hoping nobody checks. Like, I watched The Big Short last night. So I've been going back and watching great movies from the last 20 years, just like fooling around. And like one of my favorites, I watched Almost Famous with my daughter. And then I watched The Big Short. I am fascinated by that movie. I read the book too. Michael Lewis is amazing. But when you watch the movie and you watch the way the banks operated, and you watch the way that people in this sector operated, the greed that came from it. The answer that when people said, how did this happen? Nobody checked. How did the guys, Michael Berry and these others, how did they know that the system in which the U.S. economy was built on when it came to the housing market, how did they know that the loans were going to default? And how did they know that the U.S. economy was going to go up, belly up? How did they know? The answer was they looked. They checked. I feel like this is what's happening with prediction markets. Like, how did we get here where this was going to be allowed? Or did anybody actually check as to what the legality of all this was and is and has been going on? Has anybody been paying attention to what these companies have been doing and who are they getting paid by and who is having what money be placed where and where that money is coming from, right? This idea that Kalshi has this very, advanced KYC, know your customer protocols, is laughable. Yesterday, a lawyer in Nevada, a judge in Nevada essentially told Kalshi they have to stop operating here. Like they need an emergency junction to the Supreme Court, essentially what they need. And then Kalshi is going to be shut down in Nevada. If they get shut down in Nevada, technically by the law, as it's all going, they're supposed to shut down across the country because a prediction market is supposed to be offered in all 50 states. And if you can't offer it in all 50 states, you can't offer it to anybody. Good find here by ND9, Go Irish. Massachusetts Gaming Commission unanimously approves a new regulation which will require sports betting operators to notify users who are being limited when they are being limited and why they're being limited and what markets they are limited in. Proud of my home state. We'll do more on that story tomorrow, but that's proud of my home state. Good job. Need the full details of what that means, but good job. I'm in it. I don't know. The whole thing is really wild to me. The whole thing is, this Kalshi report just keeps on getting more and more. I don't know. Okay, there we go. Thank you for that, Mike. Appreciate you tagging me. Let's get Linehan. I'll get Linehan on the show tomorrow. Let's see if we can get him from Sports Radar. We'll get him on. My boss at Betting Pros wrote underneath that tweet, Mike, you just sent me, hopefully the next step is preventing or capping limits. And the answer that he got back from Linehan, honestly, I'm not sure we ever get to that point. I know this is what a lot of people want to see, but in data obtained by the MGC, the number of limited players in Massachusetts is very, very low. I'm not sure they'll need to do away with or cap limits in the state. It will certainly be discussed. It hasn't even been presented as a possible regulation for the commission to consider. It could present as an option as the MGC discusses the issue moving forward. It's interesting. Yeah, so let's get Linehan. We'll get Linehan on the show tomorrow on a Fight Song Friday. We'll throw him on and get his thoughts on all this. But props to Massachusetts. That's good stuff with Massachusetts coming in here on that. Let's talk about favorite thing about today. Favorite thing about today for me, quick two-parter. The first is that I spoke to Jessica, was texting with her yesterday. The money you guys raised for the Sherapan girls will be delivered next week. We're going to meet up at some point and hopefully get that cash handed on over. In case you missed it from an earlier show, you guys raised $700 each for the 3 Sherapan girls, so $2,100 from sales of the BVB hats and hoodies and T-shirts. All those proceeds, we made $2,100 off that. So that money is going to the Sherapan girls for Christmas. So they will get that gift on Christmas morning next week from Jessica. She's going to write a note like Dave used to. And so we're going to try to recreate the Christmas morning for the Sherapan girls. It's by the sounds of it, it's been a pretty hard couple of months with the holidays. It's been tough in November, December for the girls. So we're going to hopefully make them just a little bit more. If you are waiting on your hat, I'm efforting to get your hat out. So hopefully that's all going to happen. You guys kind of overloaded them a little bit with orders. So that's been tremendous with that, but they're trying to get that and get everything out by Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So next 3 days, trying to get the stuff in the mail. So hopefully you guys will get something in the next couple of days before Christmas. The hats hopefully will arrive for most of you who purchased for that. So again, thank you huge for doing that. Really, really kind of you to do, and hopefully you guys will like the hats and T-shirts and hoodies that you guys purchased. So $700 that's pretty significant. So hopefully the girls will be able to get something nice for themselves for Christmas. Reminder, and someone's asking in the chat, yes, the store is still there. You guys can shop at the store right now, thebbbshow.com. You can shop at it right now. Everything's still available: hats, T-shirts, hoodies, beanies, all sorts of stuff. That's all still available. And don't forget about the giveaway, which that's my other favorite thing about today, has been really well received. You guys have sent in a lot of entries. This has been cool to see. You must be a YouTube channel subscriber and a Discord channel member to be entered into this. Take a screenshot of your subscription and your profile on Discord, and then email that to me, askthebbb@gmail.com. We'll pull a name and announce the winner coming up on Wednesday's show. So less than a week from today, we'll go ahead and do that. It'll be announced on the last show before we break for Christmas. So just heads up on all of that. So if you have not done so, please do so. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Discord, and then you can email that askthebbb@gmail.com. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Adam Bjorn and Bet Chris Arizona for sponsoring Thursdays here on BVB. We're back tomorrow with a Fight Song Friday and a full breakdown of all the big football games. Have fun watching the Rams and Seahawks tonight. I like the Rams. See what happens. We'll break it down tomorrow in a full pick menu of football games Friday, Saturday, Sunday coming at you tomorrow for BVB.